Hey everyone, Tad Larkin here with a special thank you to all of my supporters over the years, as we've surprisingly hit 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. It kind of came out of nowhere, and was a huge surprise to me due to the fact that we had only hit 5,000 subscribers mere months ago. Normally, it takes me over a year to accumulate 1,000 subscribers, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Thank you all so much. For this milestone video, I thought I'd keep with the trend of the last milestone video, and show my wonderful subscribers my top 10 favorite Star Wars Expanded Universe vehicles. We start off this top 10 list with a starfighter that I always thought was neat looking, the V19 Torrent. First appearing in the original 2003 Clone Wars series, the V19 Torrent was the main attack starfighter, used by the clones of the Grand Army of the Republic for a majority of the Clone Wars. The V19 sports 2 laser cannons and concussion missile launchers, pretty basic as far as starfighters go. However, what I find cool about them is that they have this third wing that folds down in flight mode and then folds back up when landing, and it just looks really cool. From the moment I saw V19 Torrent's dogfighting with Nantex fighters in the 3rd chapter of Clone Wars, I was captivated, and I've always appreciated seeing them in other Star Wars media, such as the Republic comics, the Republic Commando video game, and even in Dave Filoni's Clone Wars, though they do have a slightly different appearance. Coming in at number 9, we have the Hammerhead class cruiser, the iconic capital ship from the Knights of the Old Republic video games. Much like with the V19 Torrent, the reason why I like the Hammerhead is because it looks cool, plain and simple. Built by Rendili Hyperworks, the Hammerhead class cruiser was the workhorse of the Old Republic Navy. However, with only 4 light turbo lasers, 2 medium turbo lasers, 2-point defense lasers, and 1 tractor beam projector, the Hammerhead class is kind of lacking in firepower when compared to more modern capital ships. Yet, the Republic still used these all the way up until and during the New Sith Wars. But going back to the reason why I like the Hammerhead is because of how iconic it is. When one thinks of the Old Republic, what first comes to mind, in my mind at least, is none other than the Hammerhead class cruiser. The Hammerhead is so iconic that Disney-owned Lucasfilm basically adopted the concept for their Hammerhead in Rogue One, though that was a Corvette and not a capital ship like ours. In my number 8 slot, I have a ship that I did my first ever technology-focused Manda-LORE video on, the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser. The Dreadnought class heavy cruiser was manufactured by Rendili Stardrive, and even though it was already an 80-year-old design by the outbreak of the Clone Wars, it remained an effective combat ship even during the Galactic Civil War. I love the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser not only because it's an iconic expanded universe ship that every fan can recognize, but because it's absolutely beastly. With 20 quad turbo lasers, 10 heavy laser cannons, 10 light turbo lasers, and concussion missiles, there was a reason why the New Republic was so afraid of Grand Admiral Thrawn getting his hands on a full fleet of these. They knew they could bring their Corellian and Mon Calamari ships to heel. At number 7, we have the All-Terrain Experimental Transport, more commonly known as the AT-XT. Designed as the predecessor to the iconic All-Terrain Scout Transport, the AT-XT first appeared in the Clone Wars video game for the original Xbox, and made subsequent appearances in the Republic comics. The reason why I love the AT-XT is because it's basically a cooler looking AT-ST with more weapons, sporting twin laser cannons, 2 proton mortar launchers, and even shields. I would have loved to have seen more AT-XTs in other Star Wars media, especially video games, because it's a fun vehicle to pilot in Clone Wars. But for now, it makes a fine addition to my Legends mod for Star Wars Empire at War, Forces of Corruption. Next up, we have another ship that's also a past video topic of mine, the Bellator class Star Dreadnought, coming in at number 6. The Bellator class Star Dreadnought is another one of those vehicles that I wish appeared in more expanded universe media, but what can you expect from a ship that's first appearance was in the background amongst other funny looking Star Destroyers in Dark Empire. I like the Bellator because, much like most of the vehicles on my list, it looks cool. I love the tiered design of the superstructure, as it breaks up the ship a little more than what the standard Star Destroyers have going on, which is basically just triangle and then bridge. It reminds me a bit of the old World War I and World War II battleships that you see in old footage, and with turbo laser turrets dotting her hull, the Bellator reinforces this feeling. If you want to learn more about the Bellator class, go see my video on it. The number 5 slot is reserved for one of my favorite units in Star Wars Empire at War Forces of Corruption, the Canderous Assault Tank. Named after everyone's favorite mouthy Mandalorian merc in the KOTOR games, the Canderous Assault Tank was a beefy repulsor lift tank with 2 mass driver cannons and concussion missile launchers, produced by Mandal Motors during the Galactic Civil War. Not only does it have heavy armor, but it's also shielded, and you can't go wrong with something built by Mandalorians. That OSIC is built to last. As I've previously stated, these were my favorite land unit to field in Star Wars Empire at War Forces of Corruption, but unfortunately, they don't live up to their reputation in the Rise of the Mandalorians mod for the same game. Farseer, if you're watching, please buff them. Number 4 on my list technically is not an expanded universe ship, as it first appeared in Empire Strikes Back. However, all of the lore surrounding the ship was built by and showcased in the expanded universe media. I'm talking, of course, about Slave 1. Slave 1 was a Fire Spray class patrol and attack craft, one of only 6 prototypes used at the Republic prison on Uvu 4, before Jango Fett destroyed the rest of them, making her literally one of a kind.
I've never seen a ship like this. What is she anyway?
She's a Fire Spray Pursuit Special, one of 6 prototypes manufactured for the prison. She's the last of her kind now.
Won't the Correctional Authority hunt her down?
I've deactivated her transponder. They'll assume she was destroyed with the rest. We're in the clear.
The amount of weapons and other gizmos that both Jango and later Boba pimped the slave out with is staggering to say the least. Blaster cannons, laser cannons, concussion missile launchers, proton torpedoes, seismic charges, an ion cannon, and even a tractor beam at one point. The other awesome thing about Slave 1 is it has the capability to vertically take off and land, which is extremely advantageous for a bounty hunter that may not have the luxury of landing at a starport, depending on his quarry. My obsession with Slave 1 began at a young age. After seeing Empire Strikes Back and running around the yard with my father's motorcycle helmet on pretending to be Boba Fett, I had the inspiration to build the ship with my cousin's Lego, culminating in my first ever Lego MOC. Slave 1 will always hold a special place in my heart, and I have since learned more about her through my journey with the books, comics, and games of the expanded universe. Flying in at number 3 is the Victory-class Star Destroyer. The Victory-class Star Destroyer was first fielded during the Clone Wars, and was launched 6 months early by the Republic to counter the Bulwark fleet, wreaking havoc in the core. In the expanded universe, there are 2 variants of Victory-class Star Destroyer, the Victory 1 and the Victory 2, each with different armaments and configurations. The main difference between the Victory 1 and the Victory 2 is that the Victory 1 has an obscene amount of concussion missile tubes that can easily overwhelm the shields of an enemy ship, while the Victory 2 has more in the way of turbo lasers and laser cannons, making it more of a conventional capital ship. By the time of the Galactic Civil War, these guys are pretty much reduced to a littoral combat ship role, with the introduction of the Imperial-class Star Destroyers. However, they are by no means less effective, and are used even past the Second Galactic Civil War in 40 ABY. These exceptionally angry-looking angry space triangles are a must-have in any Star Wars Empire at War or Star Wars Armada fleet, which is why I have my own for Armada. Number 2 on my list is another personalized starship. This one, though, is a bit larger. In fact, it's the only privately owned Star Destroyer in the galaxy, the Errant Venture. If you watched my last subscriber milestone video, you would have heard me talk about Booster Tarek, the big-time smuggler who gives absolutely no fear effects, and captured his own Star Destroyer, and made it into a space casino. Well, that mobile space casino is the Errant Venture, and she's glorious. Once the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer Virulence, Tarek helped the New Republic capture her at the Battle of Thyfera, and after much persuasion, they let him keep her, only under the condition that he demilitarize her, which he reluctantly did. That being said, there are records of him perhaps having more weapons than he was legally allowed to have on the errant Venture, and by the Yuuzhan Vong War, the Venture was refit back to military spec, plus the addition of a powerful SPHAT-like weapon that could take out Vong capital ships in one shot. She was also outfitted with a gravitic amplitude modulator, basically allowing her to function as an interdictor with a way smaller area of effect. Ben Skywalker, son of Luke and Mara Jade, was even born on the errant Venture, so you know that the ship is crucial to much of the plot of the post-Endor expanded universe. So much so, that if we lived in an alternate reality where the EU was never decanonized, I would have loved to have seen the errant Venture in the sequel films. Number 1 on my list of favorite expanded universe vehicles also technically is not an EU ship, as it premiered in Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. You guessed it, it's the Venator class Star Destroyer. Though the Venator class wasn't created by the EU, it was prevalent in EU media leading up to and after Revenge of the Sith, appearing in the later comics and novels of the Clone Wars Multimedia Project and the Dark Times as well as Empire comics. In recent years, the Venator has become kind of overrated, with shows like Dave Filoni's Clone Wars overusing them, and other media contributing to Venator oversaturation. But I really don't care, because I love the look of the ship, I love how powerful the ship feels in Revenge of the Sith, and I love what the ship is capable of. Some cool features of the Venator include the dorsal hangar bay, which has huge doors that unlock to release swarms of fighters and other attack craft, and the SPHAT beam cannon that some Venators, primarily in the Open Circle Armada, were outfitted with. The Venator also has these 8 massive turbo laser turrets, and when combined with the large dorsal hangar, basically turns the Venator into a battleship that also functions as a carrier, which I can see having tremendous value in any spacefaring navy. In short, yes, the Venator is overrated, and the subject of every 12-year-old's dream Minecraft build. But I still love that ship, dammit, and I wish there were more appearances of the Venator in the expanded universe before it was overwritten by Dave Filoni's Clone Wars, then decanonized by Disney-owned Lucasfilm in 2014. So, there you have it. These are my top 10 favorite Star Wars Expanded Universe vehicles. Let me know in the comments what your top 10 Star Wars EU vehicles are. If you're not familiar with the Star Wars Expanded Universe, go to my channel page and check out some of my other videos. And if you like what you see, give it a like and subscribe. At any rate, thank you again to all who have supported me throughout the years, and let's hope for another 1,000 subscribers soon. Thanks for watching. Tad Larkin, out.